I think the sense of detail and intention, like if we need to repour the wine, if you need to clear something, you need to go ahead of the, like what the guests want. Like before, it's like the glass water is starting to be empty, or you notice this guest is drinking a lot of water, so you're gonna have like a double intention on this one. So I think the sense of detail and just like common sense and just like thinking ahead of the guests will be like very, very important for me. So right here you have the cocktail menu. So we have the specialty cocktail, the wine by the glass, and the rest of the spirit list.
Very nice. So at this point, Paul, what you take it and then you get the water, and then you let us sort of go through the wine list.
Or the best scenario, if you have like someone working with you, he can hear you and he can pour the water by yourself. Or you can give him a sign.
What is that sign? Show us in the camera?
You can do whatever you want. You can do 1 for still and 2 for sparkling or something like that. So that's like an extra step of the service, make the guests once again very comfortable and you don't disturb anybody. So you can keep like talking and chatting and the water is poured at the same time without saying anything. So it's avoiding an extra steps.
Hey guys, this is Sid Patel, CEO of Beverage Trade Network. I'm here with Paul Baldi, one of the leading sommeliers of San Francisco and USA. So great to have, be with him here and appreciate of inviting us here. This episode is all about really service. The service, I mean, the talk of the town, Paul, to be honest, is the service levels have gone down after COVID, because obviously we had less staff. That phase was there, and now I don't think we have excuse. So we should go back in some fine dine service. The fine dine people are really doing it, but I think the mid-tier restaurants, they're still struggling to go back. I still see that while you're having a beverage, a check comes. So a little bit, I think service needs to collectively come back. And my shout out to all the hospitality professionals is really let's go back in the hospitality of this business, and that's about that's what this episode is. So Paul, thanks for having us here.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Great. So let us give us an introduction. Tell us a little bit about your journey on the sommelier side of the business.
Okay, so I'm from France, obviously, as you can hear with my accent. I'm from Champagne, born and raised. I'm a sommelier, so now over a decade. So I work mostly in France, in different fine dining restaurants and Michelin star, a little bit in Switzerland, and now I'm happy to be in US since like 2018. So I used to work for Dominique Crane in San Francisco and Queens, and for Heineken for the group. So I have like a different experiences in the wine and beverage industry.
Very nice. I mean, I think there is an old saying like service, do like Italians or Spanish or French, right? So what did you bring when you came from there? Like, did you work before in France, the hospitality side, or was this your first sort of career jobs?
No, I work a lot in different Michelin star restaurants in France.
Amazing. So let's go there. I mean, you worked in Michelin stars, so that's a great starting point. So define a good service, let's say, what can a Michelin star restaurant expect, a fine dine restaurant expect when a guest is walking in?
So I think overall the most important is make the guest happy and very comfortable. So you have to make like the guest the most comfortable as possible. So even if it's not exactly in the standard, you should just pour the wine or just pour the plate. If the guest is like very comfortable, very happy, and you just like don't bother him, that's a perfect service for me. After you have the rules to follow, the step of service. But overall, once again, it's make the guest happy.
Hey guys, so we are on the floor now. This is a very important, practical, sort of nice 15 minutes that you will get on good service. We're going to basically show you the table setup. We will walk in as a guest as well, and we will see how the guest experiences and how ultimately the main goal is the guest is happy. How he will make us happy, right, Paul? So let us show us your table setup, please, and over to you.
Okay, so here we are at the Vault Steakhouse. So every restaurant have a different setup. So here we don't have a tablecloth. The setup is bread plates, share plate, napkin, silverware, and water glasses. Some other restaurants, they had like the wine glasses on the table. That's the preference of the restaurant or the manager, but here no wine glasses on the table.
Okay, and making the guests happy. So what all do you do to make the guests happy?
So first, you have like, at least to be friendly, you need to know how to read the guest.
Mm-hmm.
Is it like first time for here? Is like saving money for 1 year? He's coming very often.
And is that by asking questions or just reading the body cues?
I think a little bit of both. You can just like ask a little bit of question. Oh, is the first time with us? Have you came here before? Or just like you ask where are you from, and you can like start to read the guests, and more you work and more experience you have, you can like understand more and more the guest.
So the first thing is sort of breaking the ice. You know, like you make them comfortable. It's your place. Please come, be comfortable. Then once they're seated, you know, what is your benchmark of service?
So I mean, as soon as the guest is seated, I think we should greet them, just like a warm welcome, asking for the water. So when we on the first step, they want still or sparkling. If they want to start with an aperitif, I think this step between they are seated and approaching the table, it shouldn't be longer than 30 seconds.
Okay.
Especially for a fine dining restaurant. Much as you can, you pull the chair. Ladies first, obviously.
Okay, and the guy sits himself, I believe. Is it? Or you?
If you are two.
Do they wait? I normally don't.
In a fine dining, we are like more people. Right now, it's just an example.
But I find
so
it very
weird,
people. You know, for someone to pull.
So I just say like 30 seconds. You start greeting the table. Hi, welcome to the steakhouse. How are you tonight?
Very nice.
Can I offer you some water? Do you prefer some still, sparkling, or filter tap?
Still water.
Still water, perfect. Do you mind for an aperitif? Would you like maybe some glass of champagne? Do you want to see the cocktail menu?
I'll have a cocktail menu, please.
Yeah, bring it out right now.
Okay.
So right here you have the cocktail menu. So you have the specialty by the glass. You have the wine by the glass. I'm sorry, we have the specialty cocktail, the wine by the glass, and the rest of the spirit list.
Very nice. So at this point, Paul, what you take it and then you get the water, and then you let us sort of go through the wine list.
Or the best scenario, if you have like someone working with you, he can hear you and he can pour the water by yourself. Or you can give him a sign.
What is that sign? Show us in the camera?
You can do whatever you want. You can do 1 for still and 2 for sparkling or something like that. So that's like an extra step of the service, make the guests once again very comfortable and you don't disturb anybody. So you can keep like talking and chatting and the water is poured at the same time without saying anything. So it's avoiding an extra steps.
Give me a little overview of roles here. So, you know, someone is checking them in and that person is walking them to the table. Then a host comes for their table. And then a sommelier comes. So who all are touching the guest?
So first, usually is the sommelier. So because he's taking care of the beverage, and the beverage the first step of the meal. So they can start with a cocktail, they can start with a glass of champagne, and of course the water. And usually the sommelier he asks for allergies because now we have a lot of allergies. So that's not the fun part, and after it's the beginning of the meal, so it's done with that, and we can just approach with the first drinks. So you can imagine the guest is here, so usually you just present the bottle, just to confirm with him is the right wine. So for this case, the Sancerre Sauterreau. You just pour a little bit, just for the taste, so you hold the bottle like that, so the guest is still facing the label. So you pour just a little bit, he approve or not, and after you can pour. And once again, the label have to face the guests. So that's like classic and basic step of the wine service.
I think it will be great to see the checklist if there is any. So if you had to train someone, or if a new sommelier is starting on the floor, or even a waiter or a beverage service, you know, in your staff, what kind of service checklist or service trainings do you give in such an establishment?
So the first thing I say, you have to greet them in the next 30 seconds. You ask for the water, you ask for the allergies, and after you offer the first drink. After they have the first drink, between the time they order and the time the drink will be on the table, it should be more than 3 minutes, I should say, and even 2 minutes if it's just the glasses of champagne. I know if it's the cocktail, you have like an extra step.
Good number to know. So you would want to give their order on their table in 3 minutes.
Yeah, of course.
Let's say a Sauvignon Blanc glass, and then maybe she wants a non-alcoholic drink. So now what happens?
So 2 options. Same again, it's different restaurants. Either the glass of wine is poured at the bar, or the other option is you're taking the glassware, so you order a glass of Sauvignon Blanc. I give you the glasses, I present you the bottle. So that's a Sancerre from Domaine Sauterreau 2022. You pour. I'll let you try if you like it. If you don't like, if you like it, amazing. If you don't like it, we will find a solution. And after, I pour the glass.
And what do you do in case if you see that it's running late? Like, what is the behind the scene action? How does it get handled?
I mean, that's the part of the restaurant you need to handle. So you just have to make sure everything is ready before.
Okay.
Like your champagne cup be ready, your bartender will be ready, the ice is ready. They don't have any room for mistakes. Everything have to be ready and ready to go as soon as the first guests enter in the restaurant.
Interesting question. The sommelier has taken the wine order, and is it connected with the chef? Like, does the chef know, or the person who's coming to take the food order, do they know so that they can recommend what kind of food will it go, or they will just see and sort of ask? How does it go?
So for the first drink, I don't think it's very necessary. If someone take a Negroni or Martini, you don't need to tell the chef that. But for the wine pairing, will be important because you need to have the right timing for the right wine at the right time. So we always say for the wine pairing.
Tell me one thing. So if there are 6 people at the table, ideally, even as a guest myself, I'm trying to see that sometimes some restaurants bring all of the beverage together for my table. Sometimes if the beer comes first and then maybe the cocktail is coming later. So what is the science behind this, or what is the right way to approach?
I mean, the right way, everybody should have the drinks on the same time.
Okay.
Because if the beer is taking a few seconds to pour, a glass of wine the same, and maybe making a Negroni is taking a little bit longer. So you cannot drop the beer and just the guy have like the time to drink the half of the beer.
Yeah,
and
because then you're waiting anyway on the table for the toast,
yeah,
right?
If you want to do the toast, how you do that?
Yeah.
So the right way to do it is you just like drop all the drinks on the same time.
Okay.
So I know it's always challenging and struggling. Fine dining is like a little bit easier, I should say, because we don't have like a large table and everything is ready. But like casual restaurant might be a little bit more challenging.
Paul, just to go in the detail, so wine is done now. So are you going to pick the menu and then the food menu comes, or 2 menus are together?
I'm trying to pick the menu first, so you don't have like so much menu on the table. And after I can like come back again and suggest something more detailed and specialize what you order.
Okay. So fast forward, we're pretty much, my wine is almost half now, almost done. How do you approach me for the second glass? What is the best way to sort of ask me for a second glass?
First, I'm just always asking, did you like the wine? Or, I'm trying to have like a nice approach instead of like say, hey, do you want another glass? I'm just trying once again to be friendly and just like to have like a feedback from this wine. That's gonna help me for the future, for the wine, even for your next order. Oh, because you told me I like this one because I was high acid. And I can just like go back later and say, oh, this one you like high acid will be something you're gonna like as well. So I'm always trying to ask a question before, do you want another glass, or can I get you anything else? It's just better to have like a feedback. That's why once again it's easier to understand the guest that way.
At what level do you come back? This level, I guess?
Yeah, maybe a little bit earlier.
A little bit earlier?
Yeah.
All right. Before the last sip, is that how you see it? Or
oh,
2
yeah,
sips?
Of course. Before like at least 2 tips.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
The glass shouldn't be empty before you ask.
What else, like when it comes to a service checklist, when we go back to that question, in the interview, if you're interviewing someone, right? I'm sure that you would want to make sure that this person is a likable person, or can host, or is a happy or optimist. What other sort of soft skills are you looking for?
I think the sense of detail and intention, like if we need to repour the wine, if you need to clear something, you need to go ahead of like what the guests want. Like before, it's like the glass water is starting to be empty, or you notice this guest is drinking a lot of water, so you're gonna have like a double intention on this one. So I think the sense of detail and just like common sense and just like thinking ahead of the guests will be like very, very important for me.
That's true. Like that's a very good point. Like the moment if someone is wanting something and that server is just there delivering that wows them.
Exactly.
That wow, the guy just read my mind.
That's why you need like an overview in the restaurant, and you're not just to be focused on only one thing.
So what is the capacity of someone looking at the guest? Like 5 tables, 4 tables are enough, or 10 tables of the row? How do you divide, the floor?
So it depends on the type of the service and type of restaurant. In fine dining, you have much more intention and much more step of service. So you have less guests, and if you have a casual restaurant, you can have like a bigger floor and bigger table, a bigger section too.
Okay.
So fine dining, I should say, you can easily handle like 10 to 15 people.
Okay, so it's the people count.
Yeah.
So if two large tables are there, then that's about it.
Yeah. But you need support. You just like you cannot do that by yourself. You need just like someone just like. I say that if you are just a som and you just focus on wine, you can handle like.
On the closing part now, right? So the final one. Let's say we've had a fantastic experience. You know, when do you know to close? Do you ask for the third glass, or it's, you know, okay? What are some closing ways? You know, I'm just leading you in. I know, but maybe dessert, closing, rush. You see, we're rushing business meeting. How do you read and then ask for that option?
Usually, I'm always offer like coffee, tea, if they want another after drinks. That's always my lead, like to close.
What is a question? Like, what are your good questions?
You can say like, can I offer you anything else? We have a selection of tea, of coffee, or do you want an after drinks? That's like really leading with the end of the dinner, because you don't drink a coffee at the beginning. Usually, you don't drink a coffee at the beginning of the dinner or tea. But
let's give some practical scenarios, you know, of some challenges that you faced. Give me some 3 or 4 challenging scenarios and solutions for that, please.
A couple of challenging is the guest is very into wine or is very interesting about wine and beverages, and he asks you a lot of questions, or he's very chatty and very talking, so he's just taking a lot of your time. So you can like have a sense to neglect the guest, because it's always very nice when you have someone in front of you. They are like super interesting about wine. They ask you question about the food, about like everything. That's something we like. So sometimes it could be challenging just to say,
I gotta go. How to stop the conversation is a challenge, right? Any pointers? Any tips? Or you just wait politely.
Usually, I can like ask one of my coworkers to say, I need help over there, just like please. And yeah, I mean, you need to find a way just to stop the conversation on a nice way, and just like, oh, I'll come back in a minute, or I'll let you enjoy your food and I'll come back in a minute. So,
got it.
Yeah.
What other scenarios, like wrong wine, or they did not like the wine? Is that a big deal?
That's happened sometimes, not often, but it's not a big deal, because like everybody like different things. So
and you respect that you pour another
yeah,
one.
of course. I will never complain about, like, for me it's like the best one ever, and for him he didn't like it. I say, yeah, sure, that's not a problem. Just, you know, you're here to serve the guests. The guests, they pay for the restaurant, they pay for the service, so you have to make them happy again.
And when I say no, how long will you take to bring me the check? Because these days, you know, it's coming very fast.
It is. So that's something like very unusual for me, because in Europe the guests ask for the check. Here, the people drop the check, and even some restaurants, they drop like right at the beginning of the dinner.
That's a very good line. The guest asks for the check. That is the right way to bring the check, right?
That's how we do in Europe. So it's something I wasn't familiar when I came in US. You say you just drop the check. So I think that's the common way to do it here.
Yeah.
I think on some ways not that bad. So the guests, they don't need like to reach you if like nobody is around.
Yeah.
But you need to drop the check at the right time. You just have to make sure everything is done. They don't want anything else, and they are ready to close out.
How do you measure service? You know, how do you know? Ultimately, you said guest satisfaction, and if the guest is happy or not, right? But like, what other cues? Like, how are you reading? It can be from the tip, obviously, whether they just gave a nice tip, or they just are very thankful to you that amazing, we loved it. But what are the ways you know that service was fantastic?
The review itself a lot. When you have a review, the back review, so the guests, they have time to think about like the experience they had. So it's the day after, or maybe a week after. So the comment is probably more.
Do you still think that's true? Do you believe in reviews?
Oh yeah.
Do you think it's real and people?
I mean, if you know,
you've seen your guests actually going and writing?
Yeah, they do.
That's good.
Yeah. Sometimes I have a good feedback on, I know the table, and I say, I don't know. Sometimes they are hard to read, so they say, oh yeah, it was fine. And 1 week after, they leave you a comment like, that was amazing, it was the best food I ever had. I say, wow, I wasn't expecting that for them. So yeah, that's.
So you do go back and read sometimes your.
Oh yeah, and we reply it as well. That's very important too. So just for all the sommelier, we're doing a great job. I know we have a lot of patience, but I know the industry is a hard job. But the hospitality is a hard job as well. But like, we love that, so we are always happy to be serving the guests, make them happy, sharing the wine from the great winemaker from all around the world. So we have like to keep going like that, and just like to share our passion most as we can. So cheers.